And so again, in closing, Joshua fulfilled the spring feast to the T, and he will fulfill the fall feast to the T.
Yeah.
Passover, he was the lamb. He was killed.
Yeah.
Remember, they wanted them to take him down before the Feast of Unleavened Bread came in.
Right.
Take him down. Oh, guess what? They took him down, and on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, he was in the earth, being tried to see if there was any leaven or yeast, which is a sign of corruption in him.
Right. Look at Leviticus 23:6. It says, and on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto Yah. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a set apart convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. So you remember, you notice that Joshua was put in the ground, okay, by sundown of the 14th day, was turned into the 15th day.
Right.
Thus beginning the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
And during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, no yeast is to be found in your house, in your home, in your dwelling. There is no yeast. A yeast is not to be found in your dwelling. The scripture said anybody who yeast is found in their house, this is what it says, it be cut off from among.
They should be cut off.
Cut off. So Joshua was being tried to see if there was any leaven or corruption in him.
That's right.
And there was none.
There was none. There was no corruption.
No sin, no leaven.
That's right. If there was any leaven is a picture of sin. If there was any sin in Joshua, guess what? He could not be the Passover lamb. Right? Remember, because the lamb had to be without blemish.
Right.
And so now we find Joshua fulfilling the Feast of Unleavened Bread by being placed in the ground with no leaven, no, you see, it said, his body did not see corruption. See, corruption would be what? Decay. Right?
That's right.
When a man dies, rigor mortis sets in and his body begins to decay. But Joshua's body did not decay. His body did not see any corruption. His body was unleavened. And so now he's in the ground, okay?
Okay, so he's in there, the whole unleavened bread.
The whole unleavened bread.
He's being tried.
He's being tried.
So they find nothing on him.
Nothing.
He rises
on the third day.
On the third day.
Now check this out.
I'm sorry. Did I say
he rose again on the third day.
I'm sorry. I said
which is called the Feast of First Fruits.
Right.
Going back to Leviticus chapter 23, it says, again, verse 8, but it should be an offering made by fire to Yah. 7 days, in the 7 days set apart rehearsal, you shall do no servile work therein. And Yah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, when you come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before Yah to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it, and you shall offer that day when you wave the sheaf at he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering to Yahweh. So notice that you're gonna that it's gonna be a specific time. This time it said tomorrow after the Sabbath. Okay, you're gonna reap your harvest, and you're gonna give Yah the feast, the first fruits of your feast. The first fruits, okay, of this feast was the barley harvest. Remember, when they declared the new moon, they had to, what happened was they had to check to see was the barley ripe for harvest. So when they saw the new moon in the heavens, again a little light, little slither of the moon, a crescent moon, they declared a new month. Then 14 days later, okay, with the lamb was to be slaughtered, he was put into the ground, and on the first Sabbath, immediately after that Sabbath day, they would harvest the first crop of the barley harvest. Now check this out. Look at Matthew chapter 27. Once you see something. And what they would do, the priest would actually mark the barley harvest before the Sabbath.
Right.
He would go out and tie a rope around the sheaves that they would cut down on the day of first fruit.
Right.
Okay. and then offer that first fruit hard barley to Yahweh as a wave offering. Okay? If you would look at Matthew chapter 27, something happened after Yahshua died. Okay? Look what it says here. Matthew 27, okay? Look at verse 50. Yahshua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the spirit. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in two from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks tore, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints or set apart ones which slept arose. When did they rise? They came out of the grave after his resurrection. Remember, he is the first fruits of them that slept. So Yahshua comes out the ground first, then all those whose graves were open came out. So what happened is this.
Because he was called the first fruits of them who slept.
He's the first fruit of them slept. Slept means of the dead.
Right.
So remember how the priest, the high priest, they would mark the barley, okay, before the Feast of First Fruits. They would actually go and put a marker around the barley, and then on the day that the barley was harvested, which is the Feast of First Fruits, the high priest would take a sickle and he would cut the fruits that were set aside. This is what we see. We see that the tombs were open. So in other words, they were marked. Those are the ones we're going to raise from the dead, okay? And then they came out after Yahshua rose from the dead. Then they rose from the dead to be the first fruits harvest to Yahweh. You see how Yahshua is fulfilling the Feast of First Fruits on the day of First Fruits.
And when he resurrected them, when I don't know if you was finished.
No, go ahead.
When he seen Mary.
Yeah, you see, yeah, it says, okay, verse 53, and it came about out of the grave, verse 53, and came out of the grave after his resurrection, and went into the set apart city and appeared to the many. So these people who was marked, they were dead people. Now, this is not talking about Abraham and all of them, because nobody knew what Abraham looked like back then. But they did know what their relatives looked like, right? So guess who the people saw? They saw their relatives who maybe just recently died, who had been in the grave, maybe a year, or I don't know. But these are people who they knew. They appeared unto their loved ones in the city. After Yahshua rose from the dead, he rose them up from there to give testimony, okay? And then we look at Matthew chapter 28, the first day of the week. Look at chapter 28. In the end of the Sabbath, seventh day, as it began to dawn toward the first of the week. In other words, the sun just went down. Dawn not is in like daylight dawn, but when the word dawn means like to approach.
Working towards the new day.
Right. Just like you say, it just dawned upon me, but that means it just came upon you. So it said in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first of the week, the day began to approach, came Miriam Magdalene and the other Miriam to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of Yah descended from Shamaim, heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. His face was like lightning, his raiment was white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not, you not, for I know that you seek Yahshua, which was executed. He is not here, but he is risen, as he said. Come see the place where the master lay. So the temple, the stone was rolled back, not so that Yahshua could come out, but so that Miriam and the women can go in. Because he didn't need no stone to hold him. Remember, he walked through walls. They were hiding in a room with the door closed, and Yahshua came and said, Shalom Alaikum. So the stone was rolled back so that the women can come in to see that the body was missing. And notice it said early on the first day of the week. Remember now, the Hebrew, how is time measured? When the sun went down, there was a new day. So when the sun went down on the Sabbath, that's when they went to go to the tomb. They didn't wait till Sunday morning when the sun rose. It said right here at the end of the Sabbath, verse 1 to 28, at the beginning, when it began to dawn toward the first of the week, came Miriam. Okay? Another account in the book of John. John said while it was yet dark, I think that's in John chapter 20, while it was yet dark, They came.